If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. You may live to see man-made horrors beyond your comprehension. I don't care that they stole my idea. I care that they don't have any of their own. It's not the love you make. It's the love you give. Of all things, I like books best. Most persons are so absorbed in the contemplation of the outside world that they are wholly oblivious to what is passing on within themselves. The day science begins to study non-physical phenomena, it will make more progress in 1 decade than in all the previous centuries of its existence. Every living being is an engine geared to the wheelwork of the universe. The scientists of today think deeply instead of clearly. One must be sane to think clearly, but one can think deeply and be quite insane. My method is different. I do not rush into actual work. When I get an idea, I start at once building it up in my imagination. Inventors don't have time for married life. Be alone, that is the secret of invention. Be alone, that is when ideas are born. The scientific man does not aim at an immediate result. He does not expect that his advanced ideas will be readily taken up. The present is theirs. The future, for which I really worked, is mine. Today, the most civilized countries of the world spend a maximum of their income on war and a minimum on education. My brain is only a receiver. In the universe there is a core from which we obtain knowledge, strength, and inspiration. I have not penetrated into the secrets of this core, but I know that it exists. Science is opposed to theological dogmas because science is founded on fact. If your hate could be turned into electricity, it would light up the whole world. Most certainly, some planets are not inhabited, but others are, and among these there must exist life under all conditions and phases of development. I do not think you can name many great inventions that have been made by married men. All that was great in the past was ridiculed, condemned, combated, suppressed, only to emerge all the more powerfully, all the more triumphantly from the struggle. Peace can only come as a natural consequence of universal enlightenment and merging of races, and we are still far from this blissful realization. When we speak of man, we have a conception of humanity as a whole, and before applying scientific methods to the investigation of his movement, we must accept this as a physical fact. Great moments are born great opportunity. Life as in will ever remain an equation incapable of solution, but it contains certain known factors. I had a veritable mania for finishing whatever I began, which often got me into difficulties. Fights between individuals, as well as governments and nations, invariably result from misunderstandings in the broadest interpretation of this term. As I uttered these inspiring words, the idea came like a flash of lightning, and in an instant the truth was revealed. The teacher is as a needle, the disciple is as thread. You must practice constantly. Whatever your determination or willpower, it is foolish to try to change the nature of things. Things work the way they do because that is the way of things. Think lightly of yourself and deeply of the world. Know your enemy, Know his sword. You must understand that there is more than one path to the top of the mountain. No man is invincible, and therefore no man can fully understand that which would make him invincible. Do nothing that is of no use. It is difficult to realize the true way just through sword fencing. Know the smallest things and the biggest things, the shallowest things and the deepest things. The ultimate aim of martial arts is not having to use them. When in a fight to the death, one wants to employ all one's weapons to the utmost. I must say that to die with one's sword still sheathed is most regrettable. I dreamt of worldly success once. You can only fight the way you practice. Polish your wisdom. Learn public justice. Distinguish between good and evil. Study the ways of different arts one by one. It is difficult to understand the universe if you only study one planet. It is said the warrior's is the twofold way of pen and sword, and he should have a taste for both ways. Perceive that which cannot be seen with the eye. Both in fighting and in everyday life you should be determined though calm. Today is victory over yourself of yesterday. Tomorrow is your victory over lesser men. Step by step walk the 1,000-mile road. Get beyond love and grief. Exist for the good of man. Develop intuitive judgment and understanding for everything. Do not regret what you have done. Never stray from the way. In battle, if you make your opponent flinch, you have already won. Whatever the way, the master of strategy does not appear fast. All men are the same except for their belief in their own selves, regardless of what others may think of them. A man cannot understand the art he is studying if he only looks for the end result without taking the time to delve deeply into the reasoning of the study. If you do not control the enemy will control you. When your opponent is hurrying recklessly, you must act contrarily and keep calm. You must not be influenced by the opponent. In strategy, it is important to see distant things as if they were close and to take a distanced view of close things. Become acquainted with every art. Respect Buddha and the gods without counting on their help. A 1,000 days of training to develop, 10,000 days of training to polish. You must examine all this well. We crave for new sensations but soon become indifferent to them. The wonders of yesterday are today common occurrences. As I review the events of my past life, I realize how subtle are the influences that shape our destinies. What one man calls God, another calls the laws of physics. The progressive development of man is vitally dependent on invention. It is the most important product of his creative brain. Today's scientists have substituted mathematics for experiments, and they wander off through equation after equation, and eventually build a structure which has no relation to reality. The year 2100 will see eugenics universally established. In past ages, the law governing the survival of the fittest roughly weeded out the less desirable strains. Nature may reach the same result in many ways. It is not in the shallow physical imitation of men that women will assert first their equality and later their superiority, but in the awakening of the intellect of women. I am credited with being one of the hardest workers, and perhaps I am, if thought is the equivalent of labor, for I have devoted to it almost all of my waking hours. Our first endeavors are purely instinctive prompting of an imagination vivid and undisciplined. The individual is ephemeral, races and nations come and pass away, but man remains. When natural inclination develops into a passionate desire, one advances towards his goal in 7-league boots. Science is but a perversion of itself unless it has as its ultimate goal the betterment of humanity. One day I was handed a few volumes of new literature unlike anything I had ever read before and so captivating as to make me utterly forget my hopeless state. To know each other we must reach beyond the sphere of our sense perceptions. A new idea must not be judged by its immediate results. Those people always fail who betray their dreams. The rest are doing well in one way or another. My belief is firm in a law of compensation. The true rewards are ever in proportion to the labor and sacrifices made. Instinct is something which transcends knowledge. The hard work of the future will be pushing buttons. The scientists from Franklin to Morse were clear thinkers and did not produce erroneous theories. These are only new devices for putting the weak at the mercy of the strong. Einstein's relativity work is a magnificent mathematical garb which fascinates, dazzles and makes people blind to the underlying errors. War cannot be avoided until the physical cause for its recurrence is removed, and this, in the last analysis, is the vast extent of the planet on which we live. One's salvation could only be brought about through his own efforts. The only reason a warrior is alive is to fight, and the only reason a warrior fights is to win. Immature strategy is the cause of grief. If you know the way broadly, you will see it in everything. You should not have a favorite weapon. To become overfamiliar with one weapon is as much a fault as not knowing it sufficiently well. The important thing in strategy is to suppress the enemy's useful actions but allow his useless actions. If you are not progressing along the true way, a slight twist in the mind can become a major twist. This must be pondered well. To become the enemy, see yourself as the enemy of the enemy. When you attack the enemy, your spirit must go to the extent of pulling the stakes out of a wall and using them as spears and halberds. Though you give up your life, do not give up your honor. Observe their attacking order, and go to meet first those who attack first. It may seem difficult at first, but all things are difficult at first. You win battles by knowing the enemy's timing, and using a timing which the enemy does not expect. Do not let yourself be guided by the feeling of lust or love. Becoming the opponent means you should put yourself in an opponent's place and think from the opponent's point of view. From one thing, know 10,000 things. The sword has to be more than a simple weapon. It has to be an answer to life's questions. As you get the rhythm, you discern how to win. There is even rhythm in being empty. What is essential is to suddenly make a move totally unexpected by the opponent, pick up on the advantage of fright, and seize the victory right then and there. If you wish to control others, you must first control yourself. Then you will come to see things in an all-encompassing sense, and, taking the void as the way, you will see the way as void. People in this world look at things mistakenly, and think that what they do not understand must be the void. This is not the true void. It is bewilderment. Truth is not what you want it to be. It is what it is. And you must bend to its power or live a lie. There is a rhythm to everything, but particularly in the martial arts. If you do not train in its rhythm, it is difficult to succeed.